Now then, let's not beat around the bush. A good education, it's a right, not a privilege, and that applies to everyone, regardless of any challenges they may face. For young people with disabilities, the path to university can be fraught with obstacles, particularly here in the UK. But where there are challenges, there are also solutions. This film shines a light on those very challenges, from navigating inaccessible buildings to combating the loneliness of isolation. We'll hear from students who faced these hurdles head-on, and from those working tirelessly to create a more inclusive academic world. Because a university education, it's about more than just acquiring knowledge. It's about fostering a sense of belonging, igniting passions, and equipping young minds with the tools they need to thrive. And that opportunity should be available to all. Wouldn't you agree? First things first, you can't exactly learn if you can't even get through the door, can you? For many students with disabilities, the university experience is a daily obstacle course of inaccessible buildings and spaces. Imagine navigating a warren of corridors in a wheelchair, only to find the lifts out of order. Again. Or struggling to decipher a lecture theatre's layout with inadequate signage. These aren't mere inconveniences. They're barriers to a fulfilling education. And it's not just about bricks and mortar, is it? The digital world can be just as exclusionary. Websites that aren't designed with screen readers in mind, online learning platforms that lack captioning, essential information that's impossible to access for those with visual impairments. It's as if we're saying, you're welcome here, but only if you fit a very specific mold. Now, there are universities making strides, I'll grant you that. Ramps are being installed, accessible toilets are becoming the norm, and some institutions are investing in assistive technologies. But there's still a long way to go. We need a universal design approach, where accessibility is baked into the very fabric of university life. Not an afterthought, not a box to be ticked, but a fundamental principle. Imagine a campus where every student can attend every lecture, access every library resource, and participate fully in every aspect of university life. That's the goal, isn't it? Because true accessibility means removing all barriers, both physical and digital, so that every student can focus on what truly matters, their education. Now picture this. You're a fresher, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, excited for university life, but you're also grappling with a disability that makes it difficult to socialize, to join in, to feel like you truly belong. The student union bar seems a million miles away, the buzz of the common room a distant hum. This is the reality for countless students with disabilities who often find themselves battling a profound sense of isolation. It's not just about physical access, is it? It's about feeling seen, heard, and included in the social fabric of university life. Imagine being the only one in your cohort who can't participate in that spontaneous pub quiz, or the anxiety of navigating a crowded social event with sensory sensitivities. It's enough to make anyone retreat into themselves, to withdraw from opportunities that should be enriching and empowering. But there are glimmers of hope, aren't there? Universities are beginning to recognize the importance of fostering inclusive social environments. Peer support groups are emerging, offering a lifeline to students who might otherwise feel adrift. Societies and clubs are becoming more mindful of accessibility, ensuring everyone feels welcome. And initiatives like quiet spaces and sensory gardens are providing a much-needed sanctuary for those who need a break from the hustle and bustle. Because everyone deserves a place where they can connect, unwind, and simply be themselves. And that's what university life should be about, shouldn't it? A shared experience, a melting pot of minds, a place where differences are celebrated, not just tolerated. Let's be frank, shall we? University life is a pressure cooker, even for the most resilient among us. Deadlines loom, expectations soar, and the pressure to succeed can be overwhelming. Now, Add to that the unique challenges faced by students with disabilities. And it's no wonder that mental health is a growing concern. Imagine the emotional toll of constantly having to fight for accessibility, the frustration of encountering barriers at every turn, the added financial strain, the social isolation, the sheer exhaustion of navigating a world that wasn't designed with you in mind. It's enough to make anyone feel like they're drowning under the weight of it all. And yet, mental health support for students with disabilities is often patchy at best, wholly inadequate at worst. Long waiting lists for counselling, a lack of understanding from tutors, and a culture that often prioritizes academic achievement over well-being. We need a radical rethink, don't we? Universities need to invest in comprehensive mental health services tailored to the specific needs of students with disabilities. We need to train staff to recognize the signs of burnout, to offer support, and to create a culture of openness and understanding, because a student's mental health is just as important as their academic progress. We wouldn't expect someone with a broken leg to run a marathon, so why do we expect students battling anxiety, depression, or other mental health challenges to simply soldier on? It's time to break the stigma, to create a supportive environment where students feel safe to seek help, and to ensure that every student has the tools they need to not only survive, but to truly thrive. Now, let's talk about a rather uncomfortable truth, shall we? Education, it shouldn't be a luxury, but for many students with disabilities, the cost of attending university is a very real barrier. Tuition fees, living expenses, the ever-increasing cost of simply existing. It's enough to make anyone reach for their calculators with a sense of dread. But for students with disabilities, there's often an additional layer of financial burden. Think about it. The cost of specialized equipment, assistive technologies, personal care assistants, these are not mere extras, they're essentials. They're the difference between a student being able to fully participate in university life or being forced to sit on the sidelines. And yet, financial support for students with disabilities is often a confusing and disheartening labyrinth to navigate. Scholarships are limited, grants are difficult to secure, and many students find themselves drowning in debt before they've even donned their graduation caps. We need to do better, don't we? Governments and universities need to work together to provide adequate financial assistance to students with disabilities. We need to increase the availability of scholarships and grants, to simplify the application process, and to ensure that no student is priced out of a university education simply because of their disability. Because talent and potential, they don't discriminate, do they? And we shouldn't let financial barriers stand in the way of a brighter future. Now imagine this. You're a student with a disability, navigating the complexities of university life. You're faced with a mountain of paperwork, a baffling array of departments, and a nagging feeling that you're having to fight for every bit of support. Sadly, this is the reality for far too many students. While some universities have dedicated disability support offices, these are often understaffed, underfunded, and ill-equipped to deal with the complex needs of their students. It's not enough to simply have a disability policy tucked away on a website somewhere, is it? We need to move beyond tick-box exercises and create a culture of proactive, personalized support. Students need access to trained advisors who understand their specific challenges, who can advocate on their behalf, and who can help them navigate the often overwhelming bureaucracy of university life. We need note-takers, sign language interpreters, assistive technology specialists, and a whole host of other support services that are readily available and responsive to individual needs. Because true inclusion means more than just opening the door, doesn't it? It means providing the scaffolding, the guidance, and the unwavering support that allows every student to reach their full potential. It's about creating an environment where students with disabilities don't just survive, they thrive, they excel, they become the leaders, the innovators, the change makers of tomorrow. And wouldn't that be something? So, there we have it. The challenges faced by young people with disabilities in accessing higher education are real, they're complex, and they demand our attention. But let's not mistake awareness for action, shall we? Creating a truly inclusive and supportive university environment requires a collective effort. It requires universities to move beyond mere compliance and to embrace accessibility as a core value. It requires governments to provide adequate funding and to implement policies that promote equality of opportunity. And it requires all of us to challenge our own biases, to advocate for those who are too often marginalized, and to create a world where every young person, regardless of their abilities, has the chance to reach their full potential. Because in the words of Albus Dumbledore, differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open.